runs through the streets of Scarborough. You will often know the Black Horse because you will hear the clattering of hooves at night where no horse should possibly be. There are those who have seen the Black Horse, however. They are all scarred in some way. A mark appears upon their skin, a shock of white in their hair. It is considered to be a beast of great danger and of great ill portent. There are some even who claim to have seen a rider on the Black Horse, and this rider had eyes of flame. It is not a friendly beast. It is also not a dead horse that is haunting Scarborough. It is a spirit of some kind that has long been seen in this place.
And haunts it to this very day, by the way, in your time. These sightings have been seen.
Still, the clattering of hooves in your time, when no horse could possibly be.
But all is not darkness, if I might. There is the legend of the waiting woman as well.
Waiting woman.
Now, Scarborough is a port town, and as such, it loses many men to the sea.
True.
And there is a long tradition of women who are married to the men of the sea to go out there, look out over the North Bay and wait and look for their husband's ships, and they wait for their men. And there is a ghost out there, a spirit, that lives in the sea spray, and if you have the good luck to see her and approach her, and she looks at you, your seaman, the person for whom you are waiting, will return safely.
But to get her attention, you must yell the name of your loved one at her. She almost never turns around, but I have looked her in the eyes. I have seen the waiting woman.
Now, as we mentioned Scarborough's ghosts and spirits, there is one more. There's several more, but one I would like to mention is a miller who died 100 years ago by the name of Jacob Rothschild. If you'd like, you can see his grave. It's just past the White Horse. As you go down to Archangel Crossing, look to your starboard side, to the right side, and there you will see a gravestone. There lies Jacob Rothschild, because the White Horse at one time was the working mill owned by this man.
Now we have things called revenants. Revenants are any physical manifestation or corpse that chooses to rise. Many of them would be what you would call vampires, or perhaps zombies, and other things as well. We simply lump them all together as revenants.
Also, what would later in another time be called a full-bodied apparition would also be a revenant as well. If it is something you can see that has a human-like form that was once living, it is a revenant.
We lump them all together, and we are absolutely convinced that the dead walk. There are a number of times in which the church has declared that the dead walk. The church has written about them because many of the churchmen are the ones that deal with them and have to confront the walking dead. It is one of those things that terrifies us all when we think of it. Sometimes, unfortunately, it appears as if the dead rise and they walk among us, and particularly if for some reason they have been masked by the conjuring or magic of a wizard or a witch, perhaps a demon of some type, we will not know it. We would not know that the dead were walking among us, unless for some reason that mask slipped and suddenly their rotting self was seen by us.
The true visage.
This has been seen. This has happened, and we have writings by respected members of the church that have seen this and reported on this.
But not just with revenants. You may meet someone at the fair who is not human, but who appears to be of various sorts. The good folk, revenants, all sorts of things.
The authority on all of these things, and the authority that we go to, first and foremost, to protect us from this, is the church. The church is the most consistently gathered religious block of information that the world has ever seen. It has been well thought out, cross-checked, and it is something that we are most that entwines itself throughout our lives. There is no part of our life that is not touched by the church.
Lady Lee, if you were to feel yourself in the presence of evil, what might you do?
After I've crossed cross myself, I would find Father Francis. Beg for blessing.
Might you clutch your cross or your rosary as well?
Is this true?
By the way, whenever the devil is mentioned or anything of evil, we cross ourselves. Also, this is a sign of the cross and a sign of protection from evil.
Yes.
Crossing yourself as the sign of the cross, this is not something that we do lightly.
No.
This is an action that contains great power.
It's a sign of devotion. But it is protection from evil. If someone sneezes, we cross ourselves for their souls and for ours.
For it is said that when you sneeze, your soul is trying to escape your body.
Also, if someone who has died is mentioned, we will cross ourselves as well, in memory of them, but also perhaps out of fear of death as well.
And because of the fact that when someone dies, it's very possible, in fact, very likely, that they died in sin.
Should.
Which means that they are now in purgatory. And the only way they're going to make that step to heaven is through the prayers of the living for the souls of the dead. And that is why we pray the prayer for the dead. That is also why we one of the reasons we cross ourselves at each mention of the dead. Because we are trying to give them that little bit more that they need to get to heaven.
But only the living can affect it.
And you grant grace upon the dead by praying for them, but you also grant grace upon yourself by doing so. Might we, in the few minutes left, Your Grace, turn to matters of medicine and beliefs in medicine?
Medicine, the humors.
Because medicine, once again, goes directly to our beliefs of the church.
Indeed. We know that the human body is governed by four liquids, four humours, that must be kept in constant balance. If they are out of balance, one becomes ill in some way.
And each one of these has qualities associated with personality, with the four classical elements,
And the emotion.
the emotions as well. I might be thought to be choleric because I am temperamental, for an example.
Choler being you have too much black bile.
No, too much yellow.
Yellow bile.
Yellow bile.
Beg your pardon. Yellow bile, and become angry very easily.
Melancholy, on the other hand, is the black bile.
Black bile.
Yes. And melancholy tends to make you morose and sad.
And blood, you are sanguinary, or sanguine, which is cheerful,
Yes.
happy.
Yes, you are. You need to be bled.
And then
dear.
you have,
you need to be bled
phlegmatic.
more.
Phlegmatic, the green bile.
Phlegmatic means that
You have too much phlegm and you are slow and
Yeah.
sluggish.
Apathetic.
Right. And it's associated with the water.
These words, all of them, choleric, phlegmatic, melancholy, and what's the one?
Sanguine.
sanguine.
And sanguine,
Sanguine.
all is still in your language, in your day. But we believe they very much influence our health and our personality.